I call this meeting to order. An executive session was held in advance of this meeting to discuss personnel, contract, and legal matters. If everyone will please rise with say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, everyone. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Any opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we'll entertain any public comments on agenda items only. We don't have any from the audience. Do we have any online? We do not have any online, so we'll move forward. Can I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes from the following meetings? A, March 11th, regular board meeting. B, March 13th, budget workshop meeting. And C, April 1st caucus meeting.
So
Make a
moved.
motion. Oh, okay.
Moved by Dr. Gattell and second by Mr. Lightman. Any questions or comments? Any opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we have our student representative reports. Students are not here this evening.
So our students are not here this evening. They were here for an incredible town hall last Tuesday and did an incredible job being the moderators. So I believe that this night is their night off.
And I've been to many board meetings during my time as a board member. This is 14 years now, and as an administrator. And I don't think I've ever seen a more impressive display or use of student board members than our two ladies at the town hall. Did an absolutely amazing job. We should be commended. Under Finance, A, we have the Treasurer's reports from March 31st, 2025. Is this a point where we want to discuss our fund report now, or where on the agenda should we do that? Are we discussing that this evening? Mr. Browse.
All right, you should have gotten your reports, I believe, earlier. So if you look at the revenue one, it's the smaller, it's 3 pages. Our revenue is at 88% of our budget, which is in a good place. I think we'll probably exceed the 100%. I know it's a little early for me to proclaim that, but that's what I'm leaning toward. I think we're in a good spot from a revenue perspective for this year. Jumping over to the expenses, if you jump to the last page, you'll see that we are at 74.5% of our expenditures, and we're 75% of the way through the year, so we're right on pace in total for our expenditures. And we did some moving around of some of the budget dollars to align with where some of the actual expenses are coming in this past month. So some of the percentages by category make a little bit more sense. And as you stroll through them, you'll see most of them range between the 60 and the 80% with some small pluses and minuses. But overall, I think we're going to land the plane there pretty close to what we had expected from an expenditure perspective. So we're sitting pretty good right now. No red flags from what I can see. If anybody has any questions that we can look into, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Just board members, when you're done looking through that, just give me a nod. So I don't want to move on until we've had time.
I have a question. Page 2, under Oh, support services, pupil, it's a personnel, but it's 2,100, 300 purchased. I don't know what all of that stands for. But it looks like, and I'm wondering if this is a reclassification. What was originally budgeted was around $6,000, but the expenses are now a little less than 120,000, which puts us at almost 2,000% of what was budgeted. So is that something that was reclassified? Or was there a big purchase?
All right, rather than hold up this meeting, can I email you that answer?
Absolutely.
I'll look into it here. Maybe I'll have the answer before the end of the night.
Perfect, thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the following payment of orders? One, General Fund FNB prepaid $680,227.72.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Any opposed? Motion carries. Number two, General Fund FNB paid $308,774.03.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Number three, General Fund MP paid for $346,814.12.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to number eight, under personnel, may I have a motion to approve personnel matters A through E?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments, other than I will note one comment, that it has to do with Dr. Rosario's, Dr. Epley's rescinding of her intent to retire, so we get to enjoy her with us for another year. We're always happy to see that. Any other questions or comments? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, motion to approve Saxton and Stump as the district special counsel. This is due to the current special counsel, Stock and Leader, joining that firm. And this motion is for the period of April 1st, 2025 through June 30th of 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, curriculum. May I have a motion to approve curriculum maps for the following subjects: Family and Consumer Sciences, Advanced Culinary, High School English, 9th through 12th grades. Under that would be 1, English and AP, English and Composition, and 2, AP Literature and Composition, and C, Math, specifically Algebra 2.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? The other comment I will have is that one of our board goals this year was to make sure that curriculum is being done with fidelity and that curriculum maps are being updated and under the leadership of Ms. Snyder, that's happening. And the board was given copies of these curriculum maps well enough advance that we could have looked over them and had comments on them. So appreciate that. So any opposed to that? Hearing none, motion is approved. So we're going to look at number 11. What I want to do is go through these. We'll read them, and I think I'm going to ask if there's any questions or comments on them. And then at the end, I think because of the large amounts here, we will do one motion unless there's an objection to A through F, and that will be a roll call vote because of the large amounts that are involved. Does anyone oppose to doing it in that fashion? So,
I think the only thing I would say is that if we have some discussion around a particular one, I don't know that we will,
that would require us to roll call that one individually. Could we pull that out?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Or, yeah, we
You know
should,
what I mean? Like if there's something that you think, rather than clustering it all together,
yeah.
you know, it's all five.
So under A is a motion to approve the agreement with All American Athletics, and this is to replace the bleachers at the middle school and high school gymnasiums at an all-inclusive cost of $398,819, and this will be paid to the capital reserves account, our 2024 issuance of a small bank note. Are there any questions or comments?
Just a comment, you read that as 398, it's 389,819.
Oh, thank you. Motion B has to do with approving a lease with Apple Inc. for the, quote, refresh, unquote, of various equipment during the 2025, 2026, 2026, 2027, 2027, 2028, and 2028, 2029 school years at a cost of $109,487.50 each year for a total cost of $437,950. If we'll take all these together. So I'd like to open that up for discussion. I had some questions or comments on that. Now, the reason for this, if I understand it correctly, is because Apple now has what they call their iPad 11, which is the more current iPad. And we had discussed during budget time that when the Apple rolled out with their iPad 11s, that we would do this with the iPad 11. So I guess I have a couple questions. One being, is this budget neutral?
It's actually less money than we budgeted for in the 24-25 school year.
What about all the other school years? If that makes
So
sense.
moving forward, we would continue in that line item of $109,487.50. You will see that number for those school years moving forward.
Mike, I would say we never let a lease end before. We always cashed out early, so it's always been 200,000 or 300,000 a year, I think.
Okay. And what is various equipment?
iPads.
So should we just say iPads?
Well, it has iPad cases, and Apple Care.
So we're not getting mice or getting, this is just iPads with the cases and the Apple Care.
That's correct.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that? Mrs. Walburn?
Mrs. Matosh, at what point will there be a refresh, or when will we see that in the budget for a refresh of the teachers' laptops, or is that planned in separately?
We actually were able to use, I believe it's ESSER's 3 funds
Oh,
for
great.
teacher MacBook refresh that has occurred.
So, from a technology refresh, at what point? I know typically it's 3 to 5 years, usually in like a 3-year, so about 3 years we'll see that, if we don't have the ESSER's money, show up in the budget for that refresh.
So we're hoping for 4 years. I
4
think
years.
That's
Okay.
the goal for the laptop.
Okay. And is that segregated out by building, or will that be all the teachers all at once?
That'll be all the teachers at once.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
That's a great question. And will we be purchasing them?
Yes, at that point, for
And then-
those devices, we'll be
So
purchasing
then
those.
we should be able to sell them back, is that correct?
That's
When
correct.
we do the next purchase?
Yep.
Is there any chance that we could change the word various equipment to say iPads and associated equipment? Just from a historical perspective, so that if we look back at this agenda years from now, we kind of know what it was that we purchased here.
Well, why don't we not say associated equipment, why don't we just say iPads, cases, and Apple Care?
Well, yeah, if that's all it is that we're getting, then yeah, that's fine. I don't,
So, okay, yep.
A motion and a second to
Yeah.
amend it. Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
Well, we haven't
Oh.
motioned and seconded, we're
Sorry.
gonna do them all at once, but
But with the new iPads, they don't come with chargers, so will we also have to include the purchase of chargers? And are we not gonna be purchasing those for students?
Great question.
So, yeah, because Apple has moved away from providing those. And is that something that we need to look at and consider
Or
as a budget?
does our Apple Distinguished School get us chargers? Designation?
So one thing we could potentially do, but the problem is maybe reusing some of the chargers. As long as they're C chargers, we'll be able to repurpose them. So- Right, but one end is the actual, but it comes with a cord. So the iPads come with a cord, not a charger. So we would have some chargers that would work right. Right, can we use the brick? So we probably won't need to purchase a lot of them. And then potentially maybe using some iPad repair fund money to offset it. I feel like that would be a reasonable. I'm embarrassed that I didn't think of that, so nice job.
All right, I'll read that again. The motion is to approve a lease, thank you for making me read all this with all these numbers. Motion to approve a lease with Apple Inc. for the refresh of various equipment during the 2025, 2026, 2026, 2027, 2027, 2028, and I just said it wrong, I'm sorry. Motion B, to approve a lease with Apple Incorporated for the refresh of, or purchase of, right? We're not refreshing anything.
It'd be the purchase.
Motion to approve a lease with Apple Inc. for the purpose of iPad 11s and the associated cases and Apple Care during the 2025-26, 2026-2027, 2027-2028, and 2028-2029 school years at a cost of $109,487.50 each year for a total cost of $437,950. Any other questions or comments?
Is it appropriate for us to call them iPad 11s? No, they're not 11s.
I mean, they're not iPad 11.
They didn't correct me the
They're
first
called
time.
iPad now. I don't know.
Did they?
It's iPad
11th gen,
11 inch.
11 inch.
It's kind of ridiculous, really.
They also refer to them as iPad A16.
I don't know if it matters in the motion, but they are not iPad 11.
iPad 11-inch it is.
What do we call them then?
You could say the
They're now
current,
called iPad. It's
yeah,
just
you could
iPad.
say the
iPad?
the newest generation iPad, that would dictate it by the date we're
Are
doing
we
this.
comfortable with Mr. Medina recording that as said, or do I have to read that again?
Is Mr. Medina comfortable with recording that as?
Current generation of iPads. We got that?
I think so.
Thank you
Sorry
all.
about that, Mike.
Thank you all for your grace. C, motion to approve a contract with Docio Office Solutions for a 60-month lease agreement beginning July 1, 2025, for a monthly cost of $1,022.75, which includes equipment and support. This is a monthly cost savings of $720.59. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for saving us $720.59 per month.
And D, motion to approve a 5-year proposal with the Math Learning Center to purchase the Bridges Math Program for grades K through 5 at a cost not to exceed $127,364.40. The purchase is reflected in the proposed 2025-2026 budget. Any comments or questions? I'll just make a comment for those of you who did not hear the caucus meeting. We had the elementary assistant principal and other staff were here, gave a really, one of the most thorough curriculum explanations for the adoption of a math curriculum that I've ever heard. They clearly have done their homework, and we respect and appreciate that a lot. Feel very confident that this is a good purchase. Item E, motion to approve a contract with Weatherproofing Technologies Incorporated, or WTI, to provide infrared moisture survey of the high school and middle school roofs at a cost not to exceed $3,708. Any questions or comments on that? Again, we'll just comment to anyone who's not been following along. We do plan to invest money in repairing our roofs, and we do know from the engineering study, we do not have to replace the roofs, but they need to be repaired. So this is the next step in making sure, using this infrared technology, to make sure that we're repairing exactly what needs to be repaired, where there are leaks that have gone through and need additional repair. So this is doing our due diligence before we sink money into roof repair, making sure that we know exactly what needs repaired and where.
I just have a quick question. Is that coming out of general fund, or is that coming out of the small bank note?
That will come out of the small, right now, it's going to come out of the general fund, but it will be reimbursed back from from our capital.
Okay.
What we'll do is we're going to tie that into a larger project, the larger project being the actual roof treatments.
I didn't know if we needed to delineate it as coming from the small bank note, since we did that above an A. That's why I was
So I don't think so
asking.
at this time, and it was last year. The nice part is you did a reimbursable, kind of a motion to do a self-reimbursement. So anything that you do that you want to kind of tag back to the loan, you still have that ability to do so as well. So this will be part of a larger project, where this 3,870 will be part of our larger roof technologies program. It'll be more than likely built into that particular bill. But this gets us that first step.
This will be a roll call vote, but out of respect to what Mrs. Singley had mentioned earlier, does anyone feel that we should call any of these as roll call votes separately? Or are we all okay doing a roll call vote on A, B, C, D, and E collectively? Anyone object to that?
I don't object to it. I just didn't know from a point of order, since we reworded that one motion, do we have to vote on that separately? That's my
No,
question.
I don't think so, because we
Okay.
reworded it for the record, and Mr. Medina
Okay.
has to correct down. So, Mr. Dino, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Singley,
Yes.
Mr. Lineham,
Yes.
Mrs. Rabin,
Yes.
Mr. Lehman,
Yes.
Dr. Guthiel,
Yes.
Mrs. Walborn,
Yes.
Dr. Jones.
Yes.
7 yes. Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on, number 12. Can I have a motion, please, to accept a donation of a vibraphone from Mrs. Pat Roth to be used in the high school band room?
So moved.
Second.
Could someone explain to us what a vibraphone is?
Sure, it's going to be in your percussion family. It is actually, looks almost like a like a, yes, thank you.
What did she say?
Looks like a yes.
What, I didn't, xylophone.
Yeah, I can't say
Thank
the
you.
word.
You're so quiet. Very good. Any questions or comments? Any objections? All right, motion passes. Number 13, Cumberland Perry Area Career Technical School Center, update from me. So, I'm happy to report that the bids were opened for the construction project at the tech school, and the bids came in, when all was said and done, $428,000 and $428,070 lower than the construction bid estimate. And the original budget was like, I think it was like $23,500,000, I believe. And so it came in $428,070 lower. So we, as the Joint Operating Committee, did add something called unclassified excavation. Now, if I can explain that, is when they are digging, if they encounter rock, it's going to cost us more money. And depending on how much rock, it's going to cost us perhaps a lot of money. And that's whether it's the construction people encountering rock, or whether it's the plumbing people encountering rock, or it's the electrical people putting electrical lines in encountering rock. So we could have, the original bid did not have a contingency for that in it in order to try to save some money. And so what they could come back is, we could encounter a lot of money. And someone, it's one of the joint operating committee members, I thought made a really good point. If you know where the tech school is, it's kind of between like two rivers. And I think those rivers probably split because that school's sitting on a big rock, which I thought probably made sense. So what we did with the extra money, since we came in low, was we went ahead and for construction as well as electric, as well as plumbing, we went ahead, and I don't have the exact numbers with them, but they told us for this amount, we will dig however amount of rock we get, and we're not going to charge you extra. And most places do that, but originally we said we weren't because to try to save money. So what we did is we did that with the plumbing, electric, and construction, whatever that amount was that they said, give us this amount, we'll guarantee we'll remove the rock. And we felt that was a wise thing to do, so we did do that. So let me tell you, those bids were awarded to, the general construction and electrical bid was awarded to a company called Low Bar Inc. The HVAC bid was given to a company called North Bay Mechanical, and the plumbing bid was awarded to a company called Mid-State Mechanical and Electrical. So having done that and looking at grants and other things that are coming in, we still have come in under $1,160,000 and no, $1,160,755. So when all is said and done, if there are no change orders and no soft fees, which we know is ridiculous, they will take that $1,160,755 and divide it among all the schools, and they will refund that money to us. But at this point, there will be change orders, there will be other soft fees. But I feel pretty good that things are on track. They've already started the process of what they need to do to get started on this construction right now. And I feel like we're sitting in a pretty good place. And I really feel like the people at the tech school and the JOC are doing a pretty decent job. Any questions? Comments? Okay, moving on. Dr. Fox, Susquenita Blackhawk Foundation update.
Well, thank you. First, I would like to thank Mr. Ward for an incredible sportsman's raffle. Spent a lot of time organizing it, a lot of time campaigning and getting tickets sold. And was able to do a live event this past Saturday where people were able to stream and the winners were announced. So I'm going to kind of
I
turn.
didn't get my phone call that I won a rifle. Did you not have my number, or what happened then?
I think it's the same place my number was. But it's all for a great cause, and we're extremely excited for the amount of participation for that event and all of the, really that sweat equity that went into that as well. So I'm going to turn it over and see if anybody, the collective group, has anything else to add, because I know we're gearing up for a golf outing. That's coming up as well. Thank you, Mr. Ward.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the golf outing coming up here on June 27th. We have a few teams registered already. Still looking for sponsors, looking for teams to sign up. If you have not been part of the scramble yet in the past, extremely well organized by Eagle View Country Club down in Carlisle. They put on a fantastic spread as far as lunch goes and then dinner afterwards. So sign up. It's a great time. I have not had a bad outing yet there. So sign up, come on out, have some fun.
And I will add to the board, especially or to anyone listening, June 27th, we could use all the volunteers to hand out water, to help with things. There's a silent auction. There's lots of ways to participate, and there's lots of ways to contribute. And just to come out and just support the school, see some students, interact with people on a different level. So if you're able to come out, Mr. Ward, can they just give you a holler, or Dr. Fox?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Any other comments on the Blackhawk Foundation? Whoops. All right, if we'll move on to number 15, the meeting schedule. We're all very happy that we canceled the April 10th budget workshop meeting. Mr. Browse, do you want to come and talk about budget anyway? Sure. I think your wife will find something else for you to do that night. We will be talking budget again at the May caucus meeting. We still have to discuss whether or not, we talked about the budget. We still have to discuss whether or not we're going to be raising taxes and what that looks like. And we'll probably be discussing that at the caucus meeting in May. And we will be taking a vote on the preliminary budget in May. And we'll probably have some amount of discussion at that point as well. If we approve a preliminary budget in May, it will go out for review with the public for 30 days and will be formally approved and sent off to PDE in June, correct?
Yep.
If we don't approve it in May, then we're going to have to schedule another meeting in May because we got to get it approved one way or another. But if you've not been a part of those discussions, there's still plenty of time. At this point, there's some items there for disposition, and then I'll turn it over for administrative reports.
Well, thank you. I'll go ahead and start the administrative reports. Although they're not here, Madeline Wilson and Olivia McBreen did an incredible job once again, leading and being our moderators for the town hall. I'd also like to thank Mr. Funk, Mrs. Matash, Mrs. Kisner, Mrs. Bresci, Mr. Shepler for their assistance. Also like to thank Mr. Funk and Mr. Page. They've already started for those tabled items, really getting to work, coordinating back with our students, and getting some of those items already, the foundation being addressed. And I know you'll probably speak to some of those here in a couple of minutes. And really, it was an incredible display of civic engagement and really portrayed our portrait of a graduate really well when we think of engaged citizens. So look forward to those next steps and look forward to being able to engage our students more and more and thank them. And for all the students who came out, it was absolutely incredible. I would also ask us, if we could, at this moment, to put our hands together with a really big Black Hawk cheer in honor of the service and dedication of Mrs. D. Balsbaugh. This will be her last board meeting. She's been incredible, a member of our school community and a member of our district. Anybody who can read my handwriting, keep me in line, but I appreciate not just that, but your friendship and guidance for these last 4 years. It's been an honor to work alongside you, so thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Elementary school, things are getting busy here. We have school pictures tomorrow, spring school pictures. Colleen and Company, they changed up their process a little bit on us, so we've been in communication with parents about that through our newsletter, through Facebook, and through email blasts as well. So I think they have until midnight tonight to go and pre-register to get pictures done tomorrow. So if you're interested in doing that, make sure you check into Colleen and Company tonight. Once again, kindergarten registration, we've been talking about that for a long time. That's taking place this week on Thursday and Friday, bringing new students in next year into the kindergarten class. Really excited about that. Moving into the latter part of April, we got PSSAs coming up. ELA on 4/22, 23, and 24. Math on 4/28 and 29. Actually had the opportunity to go and observe a class today where a teacher was kind of preparing the students and really talking about those test-taking strategies and looking at text and breaking it down, doing a fantastic job. So I know this causes a lot of anxiety for students, teachers, and parents, but I think our approach this year just looks a lot different. It's almost more of a challenge, and we're going to have some rewards for our students as well when they're working through the PSSA. So I'm really excited about this year. On April 25th, our PTO is holding their Spring Fest from 6 to 8 p.m. They always put on a fantastic program with lots of games, some food trucks, and some other special surprises they like to sprinkle in there every year. Last but not least, we're going to have our 4th grade transition days, which means the 4th graders travel to the middle school, get to see, tour it a little bit, eat lunch there at the middle school as well, and that's taking place on May 6th and 7th. There's a couple other things we're going to talk about in May when we get closer to that May board meeting.
Okay, so May's busy, as all you guys know. ESY is up and running. We've been fortunate. We have 6 teachers that have volunteered to teach ESY.
Can you define ESY?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Extended school year. So extended school year is for students who have trouble with recoupment or retention of material throughout the school year. And they do have the opportunity to come in for an extended school year in the summertime. We are running it this year from June 24th to July 24th. It is going to be Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 8:30 to 11:30. We do provide transportation for the students, so that's also very helpful for parents. As I said, we do have 2 high school, 2 middle school, and 2 elementary school teachers that have volunteered to come in and work. I mean, we're paying them, but they're coming in the summer. And 6 paras, also 2 middle, 2 high school, and 2 elementary. We have one of our speech and language pathologists has agreed to come in and provide services, as well as our new behavior specialist has agreed to come in. And she is now up and running. She has started, and she's doing a great job. She started at the elementary school, kind of wanted to get her feet wet there. I didn't want to throw her to the fire all at one time. This Thursday and Friday, she will be over at the middle school, and then transitioning to the high school and kind of creating a schedule as to where she can be most effective. We are now up to 26 early intervention students. So I am working with the IU for Mr. Ward and I to go out and try to get our eyes on some of the kiddos so that we know how we can best service them. Other than that, just trying to get a lot of our things tied up for the end of the school year.
All right, so I want to start off, and I know we've talked about this a lot, but I don't think you can talk about it enough, is how valuable the town hall was. I know for the whole board that everyone really enjoyed that. And sometimes we get to see those students in that similar role where like leading stuff all the time, but then for other people to see it and see how great of a job they did, that was really great. And then to come back and be like, all right, these are the things that we're seeing, how can we address them? I just want to talk a little bit about some of those that we're already starting to address. So starting off with the AP courses, they mentioned that maybe a variety or different AP courses being offered. So currently we offer 10 AP courses, which is the most in Perry County, but that's not kind of what we're talking about here. So we want to meet with students and try to get like a variety. Maybe we're not offering them all every single year, but see where the interest lies. So when we're doing those scheduling sheets and when they're filling out like what they're looking to take the next year, maybe seeing like this is how many we have available and seeing where the interest lies and then offering those classes. So being flexible each year as we schedule. Also, we wanted to take a look at the counselors and their individual student meetings. That was kind of the one big thing. They didn't feel like they got enough time with their counselor, every single student that is, to prepare for what they're looking at to do after high school. So we do have a meeting with the counselors where we're going to sit down and talk about what's the best schedule, how can we kind of plan this out so they're able to meet with each individual student, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes, so they can kind of touch base and understand this is what their plans are and maybe help push them in the right direction. A few other things, the lunch portion sizes, so nutrition group will be meeting with not only me and Mr. Funk, but also with his advisory council to kind of go over that, and that'll be next Wednesday, so they've already set that up to talk about some of the portion sizes, but also other issues that they're seeing with their lunch, so we're trying to, once again, continue with that student feedback throughout all of these issues. And then the cap and gown ideas. So Mr. Funk met with the senior class advisors and the 2 board reps, and they've already come up with a plan to allow for the cap decorations that the students wanted. There's some strict guidelines. They have to have parent permission. They're going to be approved and everything like that. But we've already found a way of how to kind of bleed that into this year's graduation, and it just happened last Tuesday. So really appreciate everybody that, had all the feedback. The students did such a wonderful job, and we look forward to kind of continuing looking into some of these other issues as we go through the rest of the school year and into next.
I just want to say thank you, and to Mr. Funk, like for the cap decorations, the lunch portions, the AP courses, like that's amazing. When kids come out and they're vulnerable, we owe it to them to jump on it. And you guys did. I appreciate that. And that meeting with the counselors. Just one comment or suggestion that I had as I was thinking about that. I'm pretty sure the counselors already have I haven't seen it, I'm guessing. They have a one-page document in which they track the courses that the students have taken to make sure they've had enough credits of math, science, English, or whatever. And I believe it's one page to make sure they get to that magic number. Is it 26 now, 27? I would I'm just throwing this out, I would suggest perhaps putting on the back of that sheet some type of a document that tracks the conversations that they've had about what what the students' plans are, what their goals are, what ideas they have, what track they might want to take as far as, are we going to the tech school or do I want to go to college? Not that they would have to keep that, but as the counselors meet with all these students, it's going to be a lot of information. So this is just me talking, I would standardize that in some type of a form, maybe on the back of that other graduation form that they have in their CUME folder in the counseling center. So it's just the thought to memorialize, those meetings that they have every year. Just a thought, but kudos to you and Mr. Funk for jumping on that.
Can I just make a quick comment too? I don't want to hijack the admin reports, but I was going to say a thank you during my board report to all those that were responsible for bringing that together, that town hall. I think I mentioned in a personal email that I had sent to some folks, maybe not everybody received it, or I didn't have everybody on that list. But I mentioned that that idea was born out of our goals meeting in the middle of the middle school cafeteria, and it was easy for us to come up with the idea and a lot more work to implement it. And so I think I was super happy with how that all came about, and thank you so much for all of the back and behind the scenes. But I also, echoing what Mike said, I think it's so important for not that the idea behind a town hall is to have students get everything that they want or they ask about. But I do think it's important to understand that they've heard us, that you've heard them, and that there's some action on it, positive or negatively, but at least something that was done. So thank you for that. Just another quick follow-up. Mr. Funk did follow up with me about the Career Day Expo that's happening on the 15th, because I had asked about maybe participating in that as a career. But as I'm understanding it, that is more of a business expo. It's more for people that are looking for, businesses that might be looking for internships or to hire people. And I was thinking of it more as a career exposure day. So he said that he's looking into trying to have them maybe expand that next year or in some way maybe dovetail it with the college fair that happened. So I just, for the benefit of the board, there was a follow-up with me with Mr. Funk. And I think if that does happen, I think one of the greatest things that the students were able to hear was the diversity of background that this board brings to them and maybe gives, them an opportunity to even hear about more in detail about what all of us do and how that might be a career path for some. So thank you all the way around.
I was just curious, they had brought up the lockers not being able to be locked. Did we kind of confirm that, or is there a problem with the locker room?
They also talked about the showers being pretty antiquated, maybe working, not working, but I think it's worth looking into, obviously. Middle school? Hello.
Hello, everyone. We wrapped up the wish tree, which was read across Susquenita, and if you hadn't had a chance, it's still standing. Mrs. Katrina Evans and a few 8th graders created the most amazing wish tree. And if you take the time to look at some of the wishes, they're very inspiring. Some of them will tug on your heartstrings if you read some of those individual ones. So thank you to all of the English teachers and librarian who were on that committee. We wrapped up the PBIS Quarter 3 reward. I went around. I'll send some pictures to Dr. Fox. I didn't have time to put an iMovie. Activities such as soccer, volleyball. They had like a million gaming systems. I don't know whoever had that many. Cookie decorating was pretty popular. Just had a quiet room, cornhole, dancing, all kinds of different activities, and the kids really look forward to that when they earn that throughout the marking period. Coming up, as Mr. Ward said, are the PSSAs. We're prepping for them, but In the past, Mr. Henry's class took a trip to Chocolate World, and there was a nice picture to share with that as well. They toured Chocolate World. Tomorrow, I'll be accompanying 6th grade to Biztown. It's my first experience, so I'm excited to see what that's all about. And then on Friday, I will also be accompanying 8th grade to Harper's Ferry, and I'll have some reports back next month on that.
Thank you. Any other administrators? Okay. Any board reports? No? Okay.
Just
Any-
one,
Oh,
I'm
please,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to comment about the town hall. I thought that was really appropriate. I'm glad that we ended up going through and following through with that. And I think the students were really kind of brilliant with some of their questions. And I think hopefully we will be able to provide them with some answers to their questions so we can fulfill our obligation as well. That's it.
I think it was brilliant, and I've talked to other people in other schools about it too, and just, I don't think we maybe realized this, but it took a lot of courage for this board collectively and our administrators to just say to kids, fire away, you know, and I'm proud to be a part of this board, and I'm proud of our administration that would offer that and allow that and work with us. There was never a question of, we don't want to hear from our kids. It was just a question of, we want to hear from our kids, how do we do it? And our kids did it in such an amazing way that I don't think there's a single person that doesn't want to do it again. So kudos to everyone involved. And you don't think of something like that taking courage, but I know places would not have allowed that. So I'm glad we're not that school.
Can I ask just a quick question, maybe to the administrators? If we were to do it again, do you think it would be beneficial to do it at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year? Like, do you think it would does doing it at the beginning allow more time to address or implement? Because right now I know it, like with a million other things going on, I don't know, just something to think about. If we were only to do it once a year, is there a time of year that would be better to do it? I actually wouldn't mind doing it twice a year, but that may be like a beginning and the end of the year, but Mr. Page is like, please no. But, you know, just something to think about.
I was just gonna say, my thought on that would be like maybe a couple months into the year, so maybe not right at the beginning
Right,
of the year,
yes.
but just like, you know, November, maybe timeline, just before the holidays, just trying to get, so they have time to think about what questions they would have and everything, and then it also gives us that back end to fix them before those kids are seniors and leaving. So that would just be my 2 cents.
And frankly, there might be some value in doing that prior to us adopting a budget, depending on what we hear. Yeah. Do we have any public comments on any agenda items? Do we have any electronic public comments? Or actually, anything that's not on, doesn't have to be on the agenda? No, okay. And electronically, there's no online comments either. May I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.